Hello and welcome to another episode in my Let's Render series. I'm glad you could join me. I'm providing a voiceover for this video which was captured around a week ago. I sped this video up to double the speed even though this video will be longer than normal. Before I continue, a big thank you to my supporters on all platforms without which I would not be able to buy and use the assets inside of DAZ Studio. The environment I'm building here is for a set of renders that will be used for character promotion. We're building this environment from scratch using a various amount of different assets from different content providers. I also plan to use something like this in my game Dreams of Reality as well. In fact, I will already have done so by the time you are watching this video. You will see me spend an endless amount of time scrolling through the asset list trying to find the right asset I want to use. Like that floor, although you can scale the floor, I find it also tends to stretch the textures as well, so I add a second one. You may be wondering why I do not complete the room. Since I already know the camera angles I'm going to use, I only need to decorate the parts of the room that will be visible. This cuts down on memory usage as DAZ doesn't need to load in the textures that aren't used. It also makes getting light into the room easier in some circumstances. This is a deforced bed asset, but I find the textured patterns for the duvet are not really that great. Every time I use it, I remind myself that I wanted to create my own versions. However, eventually I settle on the pink flower pattern, run the simulation, and the bed is complete. Choosing a side table took a while. Eventually I found an asset I liked, but the wood texture did not match the bed. This is where we can replace the texture using the same base texture map from the bed. Simply selecting the base texture under the Surfaces tab will load that texture onto the item. Due to the mapping of the bed texture, it shows the black cutouts, and I do not want that. This is easily fixed by changing the tiling and even the offset for the mapping. After a little playing around, I eventually get the effect to work all over the side table and can then place it into position. And of course, no bedroom is complete without a digital clock. I like the idea of breaking up the wood floor with a textured rug, and even go so far as to add a set of drawers to the alcove. Small touches add a sense of life to a room. The clock, rug and drawers, I add an additional elements that hopefully give a sense of the room being lived in. Of course, typically whenever I try to record, I get interrupted by Discord. One of the reasons this is a voiceover and not recorded live. I'm also a fan of using items that can create natural light. Adding this lamp will add a source of light that will also cast some backlight on the model I intend to use. Rather than putting in the ghost light, I can bump the luminosity of the lamp to provide the same effect. Blank walls are anathema to me, so let's put a picture on it. Always adjusting the view, looking to see if there are enough interesting items that will be on display in a scene. The irony to this is the final images that I use have very little of those items on show. Since I plan to use this set again, there's always a chance for the box of tissues to have its moment. When I'm happy with the environment, I'll create a new group and add all of those elements to it. This helps keep the scene navigation easy. Time to see how it looks with an iRay preview. Very flat and lifeless. This is due to a few factors. Firstly, the environment mode is set to dome and scene. Due to the open nature of the environment, I do not want the dome to be casting light, so I change this to scene only. Additionally, our old favourite headlamp is being used. We turn this off, and you can now see the only source of light is the lamp. I pause here because I'm considering how I want to light this scene. I like the idea of light coming from the windows, and do not want the outside of the windows to be visible. We can turn the glass into an emissive surface, which will emit light but prevent you from seeing outside. This helps as it means I do not have to create an outside environment visible through the window. Although the light from the windows is too bright now, already you can see some shadows forming, and the room image takes on a sense of depth. I spend time adjusting both the colour temperature and the luminosity. I want to have a yellow tinge to the colour from the windows, but I still intend for the window panes to be visible. I always adjust my lights in iRay Preview. This way you can see the results of your changes more immediately. I realise not everyone has the hardware to support this, but if you can, I really do recommend you try it. When I'm happy with the general sense of the lighting, I decide to add further details, namely curtains. Unfortunately, I don't have a wide selection of curtain assets to choose from. However, I liked the look of these, and blue is a favourite colour of mine. Obviously, they are too large for the windows I'm using, as well as there being a left and a right curtain. I can remove the one I do not need by selecting the geometry tool, highlighting some of the curtain and then holding Ctrl and pressing the plus key. This should expand the selection to the entire asset. However, it will go no further than the entire curtain. When it's selected, I slap the plus key a few more times for good luck, then right click and select Geometry Editing, delete selected polygons. And there we go. Unfortunately, the transform widget is still in the middle of what used to be two curtains, but it's easy enough to adjust the curtain into position using the transform sliders. I spent quite some time getting the curtain properly positioned, lining it up against the wall by having it out enough from the window so that the surrounds do not clip into and through the curtain. When I'm happy with the position, a quick preview to check how the light shines through. Looking decent. I now do the same process but for the left curtain, leaving me with the middle one to create. I choose the straight curtain for the middle. It has a slightly different design and colour to the other curtains. I spent some time trying to colour match manually the blue, but was unsuccessful. I go through the options trying to find what additional transparency layers are affecting the colours. I get close and decide to check the colour in iRay and realise it's nothing like the other two. At this point I remember that copy and paste is a thing, and copy the surface from the light blue curtains to the new asset, and what do you know, it works. I push the curtain into position and set the scaling. I use the white aspect frame as a level to gauge where the top of the curtain should be.
Reality.
Using the geometry tool again, I decide to get rid of the rings.
Reality.
After some more scaling and adjustment, I decided to scale down the X of the asset to match it closer to the other two curtains. This also means that the curtain itself is too small to fit the window, so I'll create a new node instance of the curtain. Using my newfound copy and paste ability, I move the curtain to sit beside its parent. Creating new node instances is a very easy way of controlling multiple parts of the same asset. For example, if you have street lights and wanted to adjust the lighting level for each one, with node instances, you only need to adjust the parent node and it will update all of the child nodes.
Reality.
A little bit of scene tidy up, and I decide to add a curtain rail to the tops. I only need one of these brackets, so I use the geometry editor to remove the others. You can select more than one surface by holding the control key as you click each one, and again holding control and the plus key to expand the selection. When I'm left with one bracket, I move it into position, and of course scale as required. I'll create node instances for the other two curtains and move them into position as well. The room environment is shaping up well. Let's turn on the aspect frame and see how it looks in the preview. Still a little too bright on the windows, so I adjust the luminance down. The final part of lighting to do is to add an area light. I do this by creating an emissive surface, creating a plane and positioning it above the area. The amount of light produced will be greater if you increase the surface area of the emissive surface. When I'm happy the plane will not interfere with the camera angles I intend to use, I turn on the RA preview and selecting the Surfaces tab, go to Emissive and change the colour to white. I set the emission temperature to the same as the window light and adjust the luminance values accordingly. Finally, name the plane and the scene is complete. Next is to add the model, but I will save that for another video. Thank you for watching, and if there is something specific you would like me to cover, please comment down below.